Good evening, everybody. This is Stephen Rowlands with this week's Coffee Time. Let me just tell you what Coffee Time's about. It's really, like when you're having a cup of coffee, you have a chat with a friend, and it's all about spiritual chat. And I have a guest with me, and we talk spiritually about anything and everything. And I will be inviting people to ask questions if they wish. So with further ado, I will introduce you all to my guest this week, the lovely Emma Evans. Hi, Emma. How are you?
Hello. Hey, everyone. How are you? Hi, Steve. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And all you frozen. Here we go.
I've frozen.
Yeah, okay. I can see you and I can hear you.
All right, that's all right then. Do I need to put my Facebook on or anything, or just stay as we are?
Just leave it as it is. All right.
Okay, lovely. Yeah.
Anyway, Emma, me and Emma have known each other for a few years now. I've worked with Emma two or three times on the platform. Sorry about that, Emma.
That's right.
And as Emma's a Reiki healer, and Emma, through her own choices, decided to leave platform work and go to partial.
Oh, now you've frozen.
Going on now. Did you hear that?
No. It was completely frozen. I don't know if it's you or me.
Yeah, your journey, where you started, where you're at now, and what you plan.
Okay. So, hi everyone, I'm Emma. I've known Steve since 2020 when he introduced me to the platform. I might move downstairs because I don't know if it's you that keeps freezing or if it's me.
I don't know, but carry on anyway.
Okay, where did I get to? You never said how entertaining this was going to be, Steve.
The first one was played up, so anyway, we'll carry on regardless.
Yeah, no problem. So I was, what can I say? From a very young age, I was able to see spirit, hear them, but I had no idea that that's what I was doing. And I was 25 before I saw a medium, and in my first council house with my children. And I was like, what is going on with my life? And so this medium came to see me and told me everything that was going on with my life and that I should be doing what he was doing. And I was just like blown away by that. He told me to go to a spiritualist church, and I went to the local one, and the rest is history, really. So I've been working, like Stephen says, I was on platform from 2020. And at the back end of last year, I decided that was enough time for me to be working publicly like that, for many different reasons that I probably won't go into because that would be best. But I'm too controversial to talk about my reasons. But yeah, Stephen says I'm a healer. I was also a natural healer. And when I joined my first spiritualist church, I wanted to learn about my gifts and why I was hearing, seeing, feeling. And they gave me the alternative of, you're either a healer or a medium. You can't be both. And I said, well, I am both. And which they also kept telling me, but they said, well, one or the other. So I chose to learn more about mediumship and understand it, learn boundaries around it, the rules and regulations, and how to give somebody a reading without all the kerfuffles of tripping over your words and saying the wrong things, because it's important. Obviously, personal responsibility within mediumships. The most important principle of spiritualism is personal responsibility in my book. So how long ago is it now? I've got to look up at my 2017. I was guided to the right Reiki master, and boom, there it is. I just started giving healing. She was like really impressed with the intuitiveness of my work straight away, and then I've just been practicing ever since. And really, Reiki it comes from all the same place. Healing comes from source. No matter what kind of healing that you're doing, it comes from source. There's not a separate pot for this healing and that healing, the other healing. It's universal, unconditional love of source. And we channel that in our mediumship as mediums, which is, to me, is a healing session, but just using words instead of hands-on. It's all healing to my mind, and I just absolutely love it. And so where I am at the moment, this is my treatment room. I've got a designated treatment room. I work from home and giving healing, and seeing people change, the changes in them from these healing sessions, it's just absolutely mind-blowing, unbelievable. From when people first walk in your door to when they feel like they're done, and you can see that they are. It's just mind-blowing, and I absolutely love it. And I'm currently working, so Spirit gave me a little bit of a heads up of a change in purpose, continuing on this same pathway, but wanting to support children and advocate for small children and parents alike, really. So looking at understanding the behaviours of small children and giving them the time to be able to notice when they're trying to tell you something, but they can't do it with their words. So obviously they act out. So I'm working on that at the moment. I'm building that up and going to little networking meetings to talk about that and to see how I can get myself out there and to do something else alongside what I'm already doing, because I just think there's so much help needed out there. And I just feel, for me, I just absolutely love kids. I'm a nanny, obviously, to 4 beautiful grandchildren and mother to 2 amazing adults. And I think there's, comes a time on this pathway, which is like a roller coaster, isn't it, Steve?
It is. This pathway is a roller coaster. And I don't know where whoever told you said you can't be a healer and a medium at the same time. That's complete rubbish. I mean, I started out as a healer, and it led into the mediumship. And what I wanted to ask you, Emma, is do you feel that your time on the platform helped you to develop to where you are now? Because I just see every step as a developmental step when we go from one thing to another. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we develop, and it's been amazing. To be honest, Steve, I'm grateful for the day that you introduced me to platform work, and it was a dream come true for me, because when I started in Salisbury Spiritualist Church, is where I was told you can be one or the other. When I started there, all I ever wanted was to be on that platform and to speak the truth of that life is eternal, that love is everlasting, that life goes on beyond the physical death. And I just needed to be up there. It was something in me that was like, yes, this is what you've got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, so yeah, I was just so grateful to finally get out there on the platform. And like you say, we definitely progress with every Sunday service, with every, like when we do, what did we do? It wasn't like a service, was it? It was like an evening demonstration when we went to Chichester.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. And we do. And what happened, Steve, was towards the end of my working on platform, I'd started channeling my addresses direct from Spirit. It was absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Amazing. It blew me away. And where it came out most, I think the first time I'd done it was in Portsmouth Temple. Yeah. And then I'd been asked to go and work at Swathelin, and a girl that I was friends with there, I said to her, I'll do it if you come on platform and share for me. And she had amazing energy. In between us, we were just bouncing off the walls. And I channeled this address, and I don't even know what I said. And
the best ones.
When I come back round, everybody was crying, and I was just like, "Oh, bugger, what have I? What did I say?"
No.
And you could feel the angelic presence, you could feel spirit, and that was
lovely.
Honestly going to say it's the best service I've ever done in the 5 years on platform. That was my most favorite moment. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'll see the write-up of that one actually. But thank you to the one that's watching. I just want to say to anybody that's watching, if you've got any questions for me and Emma or both of us, please ask away, because this is about your questions as well. And what was I going to say? Back to your early point, in your early days, in your very early days, when you wanted to know from a medium about where your life was at and what you were doing and all the rest of it, do you think mediumship can help people? I mean, I do.
Oh God, of course it can. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I keep saying in spiritualist churches now, mediumship isn't about proving survival, even though it is in the spiritualist church.
I think what people don't, to be honest, I think my experience of churches, Steve, is that when people go, it's because you've lost someone, you feel desperate, you go in through those doors, and you've got not a lot of understanding, and you don't know what's going on. You just know you need something. And when I first went in, I got a message from my granddad, and I'll tell you what, it helped me so much, because I'd felt so guilty when he passed. I was on the phone talking to his wife, and he passed at that moment. So, and I'd felt, God, I've left him on his own. He's on his own, and he's passed, and it's on me. And I felt I felt terrible. And he came through, and he's like, don't feel guilty. I wasn't on my own. I was ready to go. They'd come for me. Everything's fine. Don't worry. And you're immediately just like lifted.
Yeah.
And then the guidance that spirit are able to give somebody is life-changing if they choose to use it. But you find that some people, you can't live by a message. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you have to follow it word for word verbatim, but when your loved ones it takes so much energy, done it, for them to come through. And it's a 3-way conversation. So you need your sitter to have that bit of energy. You're the primary, and then spirit obviously is like doing their absolute best.
Yeah.
And if they've got some nuggets to give you, follow those nuggets, follow the intuition, follow what they're telling you, listen, understand. They can see 360 degrees and more, can't they? That they can see what we can't. It definitely helps to follow their guidance. And you have the odd people that go away and go, well, that wasn't a very good reading, or that didn't happen, or that didn't happen. And then you think, well, did you follow what they were saying to you? Because actually, as a medium, what I think people don't understand is that we're not responsible for what they do or don't do it after that reading's over.
Yeah, they have their free will. Kellyanne's asked, I had a dear friend pass 2 days ago. Do you know what it's like for them right now after they pass? I could say, I could just give you the Kellyanne, I just could give you the standard, they go down a tunnel and there's a great big light and all their loved ones are waiting for them. But I just want to say it's down to her awareness and the circumstances of her passing. Okay. But I just feel that when anybody passes to spirit, that there is a time of adjustment, and she would have met a spirit guides or a loved ones or both, and she would have been helped to understand where she is and the way forward for her. From because I got into watching a lot of NDEs last year, and 99% of them, they were taken to a beautiful place, and they met the spirit guides. They met, their loved ones. The more religious, the more devout met Jesus, or Muslims met Allah. It depends on her perception and her beliefs. Okay, but I do know that when somebody passes, they are met with love by people that they can recognise, and they are helped to adjust in life with spirit. Okay, that's just a very general thing. What do you think of it? Would you like to answer that question, please, Emma?
Yeah, I would. Hi, Kelly. I hope that you're okay, darling, and that you're looking after yourself. Bless you. I feel, and what I've been told when I've given messages, is that people are they're out of that pain instantly, and there's just nothing but that feeling of unconditional love that surrounds them, that they're taken for healing, that they're met by their loved ones. And it depends on, if you wanted to add to that, like sometimes people go, how quickly can people come through to communicate? And that can be straight away. It is all dependent upon the person who's passed, what their belief is, what faith they have, and how strong they were as a person on the earth and as a personality, because obviously that personality continues to exist. That beautiful spark that made them who they are continues. So I know that right after they pass, it's just peaceful, absolutely peaceful. And actually, just before they leave the physical body, there is this, they're just floating peacefully without pain. And which is good to know, I feel. And I bet he was a light in the world, my lovely. So you know that he's not going to take long before he comes back to speak to you then, isn't it? And I think it's lovely that you had a friend like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm glad, Kellyanne, that he meant that much to you. And we should all feel blessed that he was here on earth to shine his light out. We're shining it, But what was I going to say? This is often a question we're asked: how long does it take to communicate? There's no set standard way. There's no how long it'll take a dearly beloved loved one to communicate. Is how long's a piece of string, basically, Yeah. And my dad, I saw him about a minute and a half after he died, and his voice just shot through my head straight away. Look after your mum.
Oh,
he said it twice, and that was so my dad, but it was in his voice, so I knew it was my dad. And and I knew that he was stepping away from the body at that point. But belief system and everything like that, some people go into spirit and they need a lot of healing and they need to recover from earth life and stuff like that. And there's a place called the healing halls where those that need recovery from earth life for whatever reason, they go into the healing halls and they are helped and they are uplifted.
I have had the blessing of seeing those halls of healing.
Yeah, I've done meditations on it. It's beautiful. It's healing's done by colour. That's my experience of them. It's done by sound and colour. The actual healing. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. But you see, to me, that the purpose of mediumship is to bring comfort, is to bring upliftment.
100%.
you know, and it's to be of service, to bring comfort and upliftment, to bring guidance and stuff like that. But giving evidence is a very tiny, small part of it. As Spirit Guide Lee said years and years ago, you know, just use evidence so the person receiving the message knows who's talking to them, and that's basically all you should use it for. So, and I know you're like me, Emma. You'll give the bit enough for recognition, and then you'll go into the message because that's
Yeah.
what's the important bit, you know. And I wish spiritualism, in its own way, could see that it's more about bringing comfort and upliftment and guidance and stuff like that, rather than pushing the evidence of survival bit.
Yeah. Also, it's about waking up and understanding that there's a lot bigger things out there than we can possibly know or understand. And actually, through connection with spirit and with our guides and helpers, you can learn so much. The education that you can receive about all manner of things is absolutely astounding. It's astounding.
Yeah. I mean, it's like me and Roy were saying the other week on here. You know, you never ever stop learning.
No.
And there's different aspects of different aspects of different aspects. The way I explain it is one lesson leads into a lesson and leads into a lesson until you reach a greater whole. And once you've reached the greater whole of that lesson, you just start again, and you know, you go forward into another lesson, because the universe is a vast place. What we call God is a very, because we're human, we're mortal, we have to put things, we measure things in time and space, don't we? But
Most of us do. I tend to try not to do that. But yeah,
I try not to do it. But you know, when you're trying to explain it to others, you have to revert to your default, don't you? You know. But shall we just say that God is a very, very, very evolved consciousness, and we're all levels of that consciousness, and it's a very, very vast place. That's why you get all these different aspects. Right, okay. There's more comments coming up. Or
yeah, I can see. I have a spiritual woman coming to my bungalow. So
yeah, should I get that one up?
Yeah. I think she's just letting us know she's got a medium coming to her house.
Right, okay. I think that's the one.
Learning about how the process works. That's exactly that, Kelly.
Yeah, I agree, Kelly. 100% there with you. Okay. You see, I've been asked a lot of times, you know, are they all right? Are they well? You know, what happens and all this. But I find with what we do, you answer the question again and again, but you should always answer it the same as you've answered it the first time, because that person needs that positivity out of you, don't they? Don't, oh, go on, they're asking again, and you give a monotone response. You know, you've got to sort of like go back to them in the right. What I'm doing something here.
Well, you know what you're doing, Steve. I don't.
Right. Okay. Right. This is the one you were talking about, Emma, from Linda Owen. I have a spiritual woman coming to my bungalow on June the 21st as I lost my mum, October 2025, and I'm struggling so much with her gone from me. I know she's out of pain, but she's given her pain to me. But, Mum, I love you.
All I can say to that, Linda, is bless your beautiful heart. And I also have to say that your mum would never have purposely given you her pain, my darling. But I understand the pain that you're feeling, because you're left with a hole, and our mums become our best friend. Our mums are the people that we want to tell things to first, you know. And I know that she'd have been with you from the minute she passed over. She's never left for 1 second, because of that love and that bond and that connection that you had when she was on the earth. But the pain that is gone from her completely, and she's probably more alive than we are right now, sat here talking to you and healing and absolutely out of that pain altogether. And I really hope that the lady that comes to see you on the 21st of June is an honest medium who works with integrity, and that you get what you need from her message, because that's what's most important, that you get what you need to feel that you can move forward and release some of the pain and forgive yourself as well for being hard on yourself, because sometimes that can happen. You can be hard on yourself, that you might feel you haven't done enough or didn't do enough. You've got to remember that you did everything you possibly could. And I hope that that is part of the message that you get given, because that's what you deserve, is the peace that your mum has. You deserve to have some of that peace too. And I'm sure that you will. But please don't take on somebody else's pain. Try not to do that, because, you know, have your own by all means, but don't take another person's. That's got to stay with them.
I agree 100%, Emma, but I still think, Linda, that you're in the early stages of grief. It's only been 8 months, so be kind to yourself, you know. And you know, my dad died 11 years ago, and sometimes it hits me like a freight train, you know. But even though he gives me signs and I know he's around, and I feel him with me, and I talk to him in my head and everything like that, it's the physical loss that's the hardest. But I just want to say to you, Linda, please be kind to yourself and go through the process of grieving. It's people who try to bottle it up, I think they suffer more. So I want you to embrace your gift and have duvet days when you feel like it. You know, if you need to have a cry. But please, also, what can be healing is what was healing for me was, you know, thinking of the blessing that my dad was to me and family. You know, and that took a lot of the pain of grief out. And it can be a healing thing. And you can connect with your mother through prayer, because prayer is thought and emotion, and your mother will hear you, and hopefully all those thoughts and emotions and prayers, you know, and when you have the spiritual lady round, she, you know, it will help your mother to connect. And I hope you have a wonderful message from your mother. And but it's still the physical loss. I've been a platform medium for 43 years now, and I still see the same people grieving, wanting evidence of their loved one's survival, even though they've had it 1,000 times. But I think that, you know, we have to learn to. I know you won't want to hear this now, Linda, but I think we have to accept that our loved ones are on another journey now, and that we have to let them go with love. Okay, we're still connected through love, and we can still communicate through love. But I think, you know, in my own experience, we have to let go with love and wish them well on their way. But, you know, I know that sounds harsh right now, but, you know, come the day, that will bring you much healing. Okay. And I hope me and Emma have answered your question, Linda. Okay. Yeah, be kind to yourself, Linda. It's very, very important. If you need to have a duvet day, please do it. That's lovely. Having a candle lit, you know, in your home every night with a picture, and you're obviously thinking about her when you do that. That helps keep the connection alive. You know, years ago, I used to run a discussion group at Woking Spiritualist Church, and we were talking about evolution and stuff like that. But a lady was there, and she said that she'd recently lost her mother, you know, and she really missed her, and she was grieving and everything like that. But then she realised that as much as she missed her mother must be missing her. So please keep that thought in your mind that as much as you miss your mother's missing you. And this on June the 21st, when the medium comes round, it will give you both a good opportunity to connect. And I just want to say what Emma said. God bless you, Linda, and I really hope you find the healing that you need. Okay? Right.
Hi, Pauline from Ireland. I just want to say hello. And sorry, there was somebody in Turkey. I missed your name. I do apologise, but hello.
Yeah.
Hello to those in Turkey as well. Sorry, we just got caught up. But we are recognising that you were there. So just want to say hello to you guys too.
You're very welcome, Linda. All right. Like me and Emma were saying just now, it's about giving comfort and upliftment and guidance. And I hope me and Emma are achieving that tonight. Okay.
And being honest,
And being honest. That's the main thing. You've got to be honest.
Yeah.
Mediumship is very much about honesty, and having that integrity in what you do, because as the great spirit guide Silver Birch said, the power of mediumship is the power of life and death. So you have to, act with total integrity, don't you, Emma?
Yes, you do.
Yes, and just...
And that includes if you haven't got it there saying, I'm sorry, but I just haven't got it to give. It's just not there. There's nothing
right,
there. People just trying to waffle on and pull it out of thin air. It's like, if it isn't there, be honest about it.
That's right. What I do is I explain to people how that spirit is communicating with me. I say they're very weak and I'm having trouble attuning to them, but I know they want to speak to me. And I'll just explain, and they're giving me the feeling of so-and-so, so-and-so. Because what a lot of people don't realise is that spirit are learning to communicate with us as much as we are them. And especially with the newly passed over, they're learning how to communicate through a medium. So we have to give them the opportunity, and that just takes a bit of extra attunement and a little bit of extra focus. Would you agree, Emma?
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. But what I also find is as well during readings is what I always say is, if there's anybody that you particularly want that I haven't connected with, if you give me their name, I'll go find them for you. Now, I was always told you can't do that, but when I went to Stansted, when I went to Stansted and did a course, we did it as part of our week's training, and honestly, it was wonderful. And I find that I do that quite a lot for people.
Yeah, I mean, how can I put it?
Say it as it is.
I was taught years ago that, even in the circle I say, never throw it out there. And I was taught to work directly. There's newer mediums today that just throw it out there and all the rest of it. And they're objecting to people calling it bingo mediumship and stuff like that. But, what I found is spirit of shut, because what I was taught was basically to get somebody in particular, you have to put a bit of work in for it, okay? But anyway, years later, they're on the platform, and this woman said, "Can you bring so and so forward?" And I'm explaining why I can't do it. Right, all of a sudden, kapow, they're there. Made me look a bit daft, right?
Yeah.
But but I was really pleased that they got through and given a message. And a couple of times this year, believe it or not, as I said, I don't like mediums throwing it out there, because it's sort of like 5+ minutes faffing about trying to find out who the message is placed with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had this one guy come to me, and all I could see was him and this sort of like very flash BMX bike that had been specially made for him. But he wouldn't tell me who he wanted to go to. So anyway, I shouted it out. I've got this gentleman here, he's about this tall, blah, 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 with this bespoke BMX bike. Nobody could take him. So I thought, right, I'll give him as much as I can. I went on. But as soon as I went to this one lady, I don't know, 3 or 4 messages later, he was there, and I said, well, you know that gentleman spoke about earlier. Well, he's there, and I feel he's with you. And she went, oh yeah, I thought I recognised him. No.
People don't speak up, do they? Or sometimes they'll wait till after the service and come up to you and go, you know, that's such and such.
I've given tons of information.
Yeah. I tend to, like you, I go direct, and I give the person a chance. They can say no 3 times. After that, I'm like, I'm not with you then. You know, I'm not going to sit here and try and make something fit for you. If it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I say don't keep pulling face at me. It's either a yes or a no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just holding up proceedings, you know.
Yeah, but, maybe doesn't fit right, does it? Maybe. No, it's not a maybe. It's a yes or it's a no.
Well, that's right. Yeah. It's either one or the other, you know what I mean? But it's like last night. This bloke come to me. I'm sitting on a platform and I'm saying, please direct me to the first message and that. And he just come and he just pointed in the general direction over there of the people that are sitting down. And then when I got down there and I just felt drawn to this woman, I said, well, I've got this guy here. His name is George. And he pointed me in your direction. But now he's standing right with me. And I gave her a little bit of information. Oh, yes, he's with me. So, Spirit are learning how to communicate with you. It's not every time that, and I've been learning this over the last year or so, that they'll say, "Oi, I want to speak to that lady or that gentleman over there." You know, sometimes they will come in a way where you have to work for it. You know what I mean? But you know, that's all part of it. I think it's good in mediumship if things don't happen the normal way at times, because I think it makes you work that little bit harder and it progresses you a little bit more.
Oh, they always pull the rug out at the last, you know, don't they? And decide that you're working differently to what you've been working the week before.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's good to embrace that, to be honest.
It is, because it just keeps you on your toes, because otherwise what happens, you get complacent and then it's shoddy, isn't it? I don't like shoddy work. I like to, I'm working completely different at the moment to what I've ever worked before, and people come in for private readings and I'm like, this is the Claire's, I don't know what one I'm going to be working with today.
Yeah, well, in my own simple way, I'd just say Spirit will communicate with me the best way they can. And I will use my awareness and my attunement to hopefully pick up on what they're saying and give it to you. What was I going to... Yeah, what I like to do, Emma, is I like to, every time I do a platform meeting or a reading now, is I like to do it as if it was the first time I've ever done it.
Oh, what, when you're on platform?
Yeah, platform or giving a reading, because that keeps me. I'm up there. I'm sort of like, oh, here we go. It's not here we go again.
No,
you know what I mean. It's it keeps things fresh. It keeps things fresh for me, you know. And as Kellyanne's just saying, they keep you in tip-top shape.
Yeah, they do.
That's true. Yeah, they have to, because Spirit do look after us. And it's not only mediums and healers that they look after, they look after everybody. And I think our role as mediums is helping people to realise that their loved ones in spirit, their spirit guides, their angels are doing their best to help them. You made a good point earlier, Emma, because everybody has free will, don't they? You give them a reading. And there are those people that will hang on your every word and take it as gospel. Yeah, but Spirit will only give you a message only if they're telling you should be doing this, you should be doing that. They'll only give it as advice.
Yeah, and it's up to you whether or not you follow that advice.
Yeah, because you have your own free will. They won't sort of like...
I don't know about you, but I get a lot of people that kind of say, oh, can you tell me my future and all this? And I go, absolutely not. And if there's somebody out there telling you they can tell you your future, then they're wrong. Because in my opinion, obviously yours might be different. And I'm sure there's other people that will completely disagree with that. But for me, your choices dictate your future.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody can possibly tell you what your future is, because you could change that the minute you walk out the door with a decision that you decide to make.
Yeah, that's right. I've often fallen foul of not listening to spirit and going completely the other way. But what I want to say is I've got a slightly different. I agree with you. It's about choice, 100% all the time. But I just feel, when you're giving a message, you're bringing the loved one through, you're giving the evidence, blah 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 blah. And you give the advice from the loved one, and then look like a bit of future comes in. Spirit can like extrapolate on the way you're going now as to what will happen, but they will never sort of like interfere with your free will.
No, absolutely not.
I don't like giving futuristic messages because everybody's got free will. They can change it. And I don't want somebody coming back to me saying, you said I'll be doing this and I'll be doing that and it ain't happened. Well, you changed your mind. You took a different path through your choices. That's why it ain't happened.
Yeah, I always explain it at the beginning of when I'm going to do a private reading. I have a little script in my mind. Me and spirit work it through. We talk it, and then we know we're ready to go.
Yeah,
so got a little
I always explain to people that spirit are telling me that this could happen 6 months down the line, for instance, but you have, and I don't like giving out futuristic messages, and you have the free will to change it, whatever they say. But please take the advice that spirit are giving you to lead you on that path. Anyway, thank you for everybody that's joining us.
Yeah. Hi, Angela from Florida. Nice to see you.
Yeah. If anybody's got any questions for me or Emma, please sort of like put them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Okay.
Put them out there, guys. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. We don't bite, do we, Emma?
No, we've had our tea.
Yeah. But getting back to the thing, we're sort of like mediumship. We are healers. I don't care what anybody says. It's just another form of it. I shouldn't say it like that. That's very blasé.
I call it healing by communication.
Yeah. It is meant to heal. Yeah, in whichever way, shape, or form that comes in. It was giving somebody a bit of comfort, make them feel a little bit better about themselves, or know that their loved one's well. That's giving them a bit of healing. Giving them a bit of advice from spirit on something that they've been puzzling over. But the whole big umbrella, no matter what we classify ourselves as or what other people may classify us, it's all about healing.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Yeah, Kelly just said comforting information is healing. Yeah, it is 100%. Right, okay. What's Angela D. Amato saying? Just one moment. I'll see if I can get her. That's it. Right, there you go. Angela, I'm very sorry for your loss. Okay, that's a lot of family to lose in a short time. So I'm very sort of like sorry for your loss, and I want to send my love to you. But what I want to say is, when we come to this earth as family, we come from the same soul group. Okay, and I can reassure you to say that they are all together in spirit in their soul group. Some of them might decide to come back to earth or go to different levels of spirit, or whatever's decided. I don't know what you mean by helped bow. Are they together and helped bow? They're being helped, definitely, because there are those in the soul group that are more evolved. There's spirit guides there, that will help them to adjust to being in spirit. And I'm being drawn to talk about the life review. We each receive a life review when we go into spirit. We show the do's and don'ts of what we shouldn't do. Right, okay. Let's see if I can get that other one up. Okay. Right. And you know, but essentially we're all together in that soul group, and we are together when we pass over. Um, and Angela goes on to say, yes, it was traumatic, lots of loss. My mum, she was my best friend, and then uncles and aunts, so young and sudden. Are they healed now? Yes, they will be healed, or they are healing. Okay, they're in a vibration of unconditional love, and just being in that vibration is healing. But they will be guided, and they will be receiving healing, and they will be uplifted in whichever way they need. Would you like to share your thoughts on it, Emma?
Well, like you said, Stephen, they are definitely healed and healing, and it sounds very traumatic. And I hope that you've been doing things to look after yourself through that, because that's a lot of loss.
That is a hell of a lot of loss,
It's a lot of loss. Yeah.
And I will say a little prayer for you tonight, Angela.
Yeah, I will put you in my healing book, Angela, for definite, so that you receive some
me too.
healing. That's
I don't know where you are in the world, Angela, but I know our healing thoughts.
She was in Florida.
Yeah, our healing thoughts, powered by love, can reach you in Florida. You know, but as I say to anybody that's grieving, you know, or has lost a lot of family, be kind to yourself. Take each day as it comes. Okay.
Bless you. Well, I would suggest finding somebody that you can trust to talk to, Angela. To be honest, because you, as hard as it is, you need to also live, darling. You need to live. You're still here for a reason. And so as much healing as you can possibly do for yourself, be that talking to somebody, finding a healer to go to, crying, shouting, screaming, punching a pillow, anything that you feel is the right thing to do to get it out and embrace that emotion. It's more healthy than sitting in by yourself and quietly just turning yourself inside out, thinking on things and chewing over things. That's the worst thing you can do, really.
Yeah.
And as much as it's like Steve says, you know, have a duvet day if you need one. Don't stay there. You know, don't stay in your bed and never get out. Don't do that. You will have other reasons for you to continue to keep going. You know, you're a blessing in this world. We're all put here as blessings. We're all put here with a purpose. And the main purpose is to be that divine love that we are, and to unconditionally love ourselves and others. And you need to know that you are still unconditionally loved by all of those family members, and all of the love that you have for them is still going to be there, going to them. That love is the primary reason for all of our existence. And so know that you very much are loved. So please don't ever think that you're on your own, and please reach out and get help, because the worst thing you can do is lock yourself away from other people and not find anyone to talk to. You need to be able to speak to somebody, my lovely. You need to look after your own emotional health as much as you possibly can, because you're important too.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. It's saying more or less the same as Emma, but you know, I do know that the loved ones that have communicated through me over the years, they want us on Earth, our loved ones that remain on Earth, to have the best possible life forward. So I would like you to try and turn your thoughts away from, I've lost my loved ones, I'm grieving, I can't live, and I want you to focus on your own healing. Okay. You know, I just need you to change your mindset from, you know, I'm suffering, it's hurting, to change your mind to look at ways you can heal. And as Emma says, please find somebody to help you, you know, friends or even some professional counselling to help you. But turn your focus onto your well-being and your healing, okay? Because you are meant to live, and you are a gift in this world, you know, and and your loved ones want you to be well and happy, so please focus on your own healing. Okay. There's another
There was a couple of questions. There was a lady that said she was getting flickering lights and there was no power with spirit trying to communicate. Absolutely, yes. How amazing is that? I bet it blew your socks off. And I think, yes, when they're communicating with you like that, they're letting you know you're not on your own, because sometimes we do feel alone even when we're not. And it's honestly, even as a medium, losing people, sometimes we're sitting, you have your moments of feeling like you're alone. But when you're too much in your own head, you're not able to feel spirit or notice them. So when they're giving you massive signs like that, it's like a celebration of, yes, here we are, there they are, So embrace that and ask them to do things. If it's somebody that you think it's your mum or your dad or your best friend next door, ask them for little signs, get them to do things so that you can pinpoint who it is that's coming in to communicate with you. It can be like a nice exercise to do, but just be mindful and protect your space.
Angela, I wish you well with your grief counselling, and you're obviously starting to focus on, you're focusing on your healing journey, and that's brilliant. There's a comment I saw, and I'm trying to find it. Right. Oh, you've just answered that one, haven't you, Emma?
I have. Yeah. No, that was somebody different. But about the flickering lights, I think it was the lady in Ireland that said about the flickering lights. So I hope I've answered that for her.
Yeah.
Rosalind, I always dream of mum or dad when they trying to tell me something or show me. I think that's lovely that they come forward to you to give you that heads up. What a wonderful experience to be able to share.
Yeah, I think, like with the flickering candle, as I've said many times, spirit will find any way they can to communicate with you. As Emma said, they will create a lot of energy to have the simplest communication, like a flickering candle, especially when you're talking to them, either verbally or in thought. That's just their little way of saying, I'm here, we hear you,
Yeah.
and I'm still trying to look after this, for this other comment.
Pauline, it can be really difficult, darling, to get out of you've been trying to communicate, but you can't get out of your own head. I can, sometimes that can happen when you're low, and it's just a case of doing stuff to look after yourself to help you be present. Because when we're up in our head, we're missing what's happening in our daily life. So if they're moving stuff about, they're trying to say, be here, be present, look what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you can feel them a lot more. It's a bit of giving you upliftment, giving you a reminder that they're not that far away. And a thought is all the distance that they are. People look up and think heaven's upwards when the spirit's just there. It's just through that veil. It's right where we are. And getting out of your head, you're able, and into your body, you're able to then feel the sensations and notice them a lot more when you're being present. And there is exercises that you can do for that. You can do breathing, breath work exercises, do a bit of yoga, talk to somebody. But look after yourself, have some healing. But I love that your sister moves stuff about for you, because isn't that wonderful to know that she's still there?
That is what I want to say to you, Pauline, is read the poem that I put up, Just Being. I find the best way to communicate with spirit is to be still and to be silent, still within, even though I'm on the platform waving my arms about and everything like that. But I find if we just be still and quieten ourselves as much as we can, and then we realise that we naturally have peace all around us. And when we realise that naturally that there's peace all around us, we can absorb that peace within ourselves, and then we find that love that love that's within that piece, and that will help your loved ones to communicate. Um, help you to communicate with your loved ones, but it can come just in a little thought or an emotion. It can come in a little sign, or something moving in your house or whatever. Um, and like you say, not when you're looking for your glasses in the in the morning. Yeah, I know I've been there many times myself, Pauline. But you know, but it's their way of saying I'm here. But take the time once a week just to sit down and be as still and as peaceful as you can to allow
And
your awareness to heighten, and then you should be able to feel something. Okay?
but also don't think that your brain is going to be completely silent, because it won't be. So a lot of people start
Right.
meditating and give up after 5 minutes because your brain will never stop talking. What you have to do is just learn to ignore the thoughts as they come in. Just recognize their thoughts and then push them to one side and don't follow the thought stream, because that's when you come out of that space. Just it's real hard practice just to understand that your mind's always busy. That's what it does. But you can just ignore all of that and focus on that piece that you want to find within and
Yeah,
feel. And grounding always helps. I always ground myself before any meditation, and I can ground and then open up, and you can feel yourself opening up, ready to feel that communication and that
yeah.
presence.
When I first started out developing, we was told to sort of think of nothing, and it's impossible to think of nothing, you know. And when I really, really tried to think of nothing, I'll get the colour light blue every time. It's always a very light blue. But there was a lady who says she finds it hard to interpret her dreams. Dreams are very symbolic, okay, and
Oh,
then
not always though, Steve, are they? Sometimes it's a mishmash.
yeah,
I
it's a
think
mismatch. Yeah,
it
well,
can be, sometimes it's what you've been doing in the day or the week, and other times it is something amazing and symbolic, like you say.
yeah, but there's brain dreams, like you say, a mismatch. They're the crazy ones, from your monkey mind and all the rest of it. And then to me, there's spirit dreams, or where your own spirit's communicating with you through the physical mind. You know, um, or your guides are trying to communicate with you, but don't look on the images as symbolism of a dream, just at the image. Ask yourself, how does that image feel to you? How did you feel while you was experience it? And that will help you to interpret the dream, if that makes any sense. I didn't catch what your name was.
Sometimes journaling as well. I have a dream journal next to my bed. So if
Yeah,
I wake up and then it's really fresh, I'll write it down straight away, because sometimes there's messages obviously being held in that as well.
yeah. Rosaline Arnold says sometimes she feels someone's touching me on the arm. I think, Rosaline, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sometimes when we say sit, but when we're open to communicating with spirit, that draws them to us. And as Emma says, they will give us little signs to, where it's moving your glasses so you can't find them, or a little touch on the arm or whatever. You got to remember, when spirit and loved ones in spirit come to communicate with us and start moving objects about or touching us on the arm, they have to vibrate in matter more. Okay, they have to come from they have to change their vibration, their energy to more of matter, so that they can move things around, and they can touch us, like we can feel a hand on their arm or whatever. And as Emma said earlier, it takes a lot of energy to do that. So please appreciate what they're trying to do. But when you feel somebody touching you on the arm, Rosaline, just in your mind say, "Who's that? Thanks for letting me know that you're there." Okay, if that makes sense. Right, it's 8 o'clock. I've really enjoyed having you on, Emma,
Yeah,
as
thank you. It's
always.
been nice.
Yeah, as always, it's a pleasure. We had a few technical hiccups there, but we got through it. Thank you to all those that have been watching and has asked your questions.
Yeah,
And I
thank
hope
you, everybody.
myself and Emma have brought some kind of healing and comfort to you and explained things. Does it feel like your mum, Rosalind? Okay. Anyway, God bless you all and thank you. There might be one next week, but the next coffee time will be on the 25th with me and Nicola Harwood, and we'll be talking about indigo children. Anyway, good night and God bless.